Chase, I need to know before we get into anything video game related, what is the difference between jelly and jam?
Um, I I feel like I knew this one. Um, it or maybe I'm thinking of preserves.
That's a wild card. We can maybe throw that in there as well.
Jam has pieces of real fruit in there. Isn't that what it is? Isn't like jelly is just
Yes,
like this is completely
fruit juice.
blended? Yeah. Okay.
So jelly is going to
Hmm.
be made of like a strained fruit juice, and then jam is more like mashed fruit and juice and all that fun stuff. And then your preserves are going to be like whole fruit or larger pieces of fruit.
Got it. I didn't
So,
realize we had instituted casual hour trivia already.
well, the real trivia here is which of those three do you prefer?
I would say I'm a jam man.
Jam man that likes a jam band, right? Um,
Mm, name me some jam bands. I mean,
Fish,
Fish is the first one I think of, and I'm not
Grateful Dead.
necessarily a Fish fan. I have not listened to much Grateful Dead. I'm
They
going to say
could.
I am not a jam band
I
fan.
don't think you are either, but I am a jam fan. And I can tell you right now,
Yeah.
strawberry jam is my jam, and
Mm,
I really like a good strawberry jam.
okay.
The other thing that I'm looking at, like the process, so God, not to go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I,
please. No,
I'm
go
I'm
for it.
looking at making some homemade butters,
All right, I'm out. You know what?
and
I don't need to hear about Bobby's homemade butter. I'm
and
fine.
uh,
I think I can live without knowing about
I am
this.
wanting to make a homemade strawberry butter.
I don't
I
like
don't know
this
what is
anymore.
happening to me, but anyway,
I don't
um,
know what I either.
we like
Johnny's gone for one episode, and Bobby's making butter now.
yeah,
Oh,
like I mean I've made apple butter and I really like apple butter, but
as the
uh
world churns.
as the world churns, oh my god, I would stream it. I'd stream it. Casual Fridays, let's make some butter. Um hey, you probably noticed Johnny's not here. We talked about it last week
They
that
didn't notice. They didn't notice. They
they
didn't
didn't notice. They didn't care. Johnny is out on an assignment, and that assignment is celebrating 5 years of marriage with his wife, and he has left Chase and I to run this show together. And tonight, just the two
Bobby,
of us.
it got a lot quieter on the podcast. Did you notice that?
Between Misty not squawking in the background and Jude not asking Johnny to untie his shoes, we're in a pretty good spot here. Let's run down what our show is going to consist of. So Chase, you and I have got some games to talk about. You are wanting to bring up an update on Digimon. We got some stuff to talk about from Evo. I'm excited to talk to you about Hard West 2. We are going to be
hear about Hard West.
Fantastic video game. We're going to talk about this little game called Papers, Please. Perhaps you've heard of it. And I have brought a surprise video game to talk to you specifically about tonight.
Oh,
that
for me? A surprise for me?
For
That's
you.
kind of you, Bobby. That's so sweet.
And we've got a handful of news ranging from video game delays, which is a weekly occurrence, it seems like. We've got some updates on multiverses and maybe a little Nintendo Switch news that I can actually stomach. So we're going to get into it. And the way that we're going to do that is have you kick us off with what is we put a quick look up of Digimon going up tomorrow, actually, for anybody watching live. I've seen this game. I've had my fill, Chase. I'm just gonna put that out there. I've had my fill. Have you had your fill?
Your fill is like what, the 30 minutes that the quick look took, right?
That was more than my fill could handle. And I know that you were a little sour on it, but you're here to tell us that you put it down, you walked away from it. That's what you're saying?
No.
Damn it, Chase,
No,
you monster.
I'm sorry. I don't have the willpower to not play this game.
I don't understand.
I'll make it quick. I kind of talked about Digimon Survive a lot last week, so I will say that I'm probably like 40-ish hours in at this point. I don't think it's a good game. I still think there's some ambition there, and they're trying some interesting things, and that there are some nice pieces. I think the character design is really good. I think the music really good.
Sure.
I think the combat has kernels of good things in there.
Kernel's a good thing.
It's just not coming together into something that is fun.
It's like you've got all the ingredients, but you don't know how to bake them.
Kinda, yeah.
Like the stuff's there to make something good.
Right.
Maybe
I think it's more that you have all the ingredients, and yet you put different amounts in than you're supposed to. Like baking is a science, right? And and like I think they threw a little bit too much sugar in here, and then they didn't put in enough flour. Like all the components are there; they're just in the wrong amounts, and it makes for something that is not very tasty.
That's a bummer. So do you think that you're going to keep...
I'm going to stop stressing that metaphor at this point.
Are you going to, like, what is it going to take? Just you beating this at this... You're in it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I'm in it.
What percentage would you say you're at?
Not far enough, I'll tell you that. I believe
Past the halfway mark?
No. Well, I don't know. I'm in part 5. I have seen now people talk about... I don't know. I've seen people talk about a part 9 at one point. I think I might have seen somebody say a part 11. I think there's a lot more parts of the game.
It's too much.
It is too much. And honestly, if you're playing this game normally, 40 hours in, you might actually already be done. I don't know. But I have also been dragging a little bit on the visual novel stuff because I don't think it's really all that good. So I try to play more combat. I also don't think the combat's super great, but at least it breaks up the visual novel stuff that isn't very good. But what it's led to is just me putting more time in the game because now I'm just going and grinding for no reason. It's bad. I shouldn't
So
do this.
at this point in time, the next
Uh-huh.
update we get from you is probably just going to be that you beat it or that you fell in love with it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, one of the two. Either I'll stop playing it or I'll finish it and then stop playing it.
Okay.
Bobby, I can give you a little preview to December at this point. Like this is going to end up being like my number 10 on my list, and I'm gonna write some like heartfelt thing about why
I hate it.
it tried something new, it did a thing, it just really failed at the thing it did. And I want you to know that I have to write that contractually with my own self, with my soul. I have a contract with my soul that
For your
says you have
soul
to
and our
give
partners, yes.
this fucking game. You have to
Yes.
give this fucking game that you do not like your 10th best slot because you're a monster and this is what you deserve.
All right.
So that's going to happen. But I'll
I'll
tell you,
hold you
the
to
other
it.
9 games I put in my top 10 list this year, they're going to be better games than Digimon. I'll tell you that.
Well, all right. So
Yeah.
Digimon Survive, next update, either
I found a
walking
Goblin.
away.
Goblin one's cool.
Fair.
He's a good guy.
Obviously you've been playing a lot of that. I think you put a
Mhm.
handful of hours more into it. Anything else that
Yep.
you've been up to besides Digimon?
So I've been purchasing games recently. You know me. I love to buy games. Play games, not so sure, but buy games,
You just
I
think
can
they're
do all
neat.
day.
You just think they're
I
neat.
do. I got convinced to buy Live Alive. I mean, it wasn't a hard thing to
That
convince me. I
looks
was going to buy that
to be
anyway.
making some big waves.
I really want to see what that remake does. I never played the fan translated version of the original SNES version of Live Alive, but I would like to play this one. I keep hearing good things.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
We also mentioned it in the August preview, but that Crayon Shin-chan game, I think it was listed as a TBA.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually tomorrow. It's August 11th. So
Surprise.
so I
Hell of a
decided, you know
surprise.
what, screw that, I'll buy that and try it out. It's like those My Summer Vacation games, which I'm a big fan of. That seems pretty chill.
Sure.
So I'm going to give that one a shot too. So buying games, and hopefully I'll eventually play them.
Yeah.
I've made myself. So I already have, because I'm me. I have a list of my backlog, which is a never-ending list that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Then I also have a backlog for 2022, and it's got a bunch of stuff on it, things that I'd like to play, things that I'm planning.
Wait, you've got a backlog for your backlog?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a backlog, and this is like all the games I want to play, which is a forever long list because there are just a lot of games. Then, like for this show, because I know we have like December, we need to get down to brass tacks. We need to talk about the games that came out. Okay,
Sure.
It's like here are the games that I want to play in 2022.
Yes.
So I have that backlog.
Yes.
Turns out I made a second backlog on my phone, or a second list on my phone that is a 2022 backlog. And this one is hey, I know you want to get to those games in your 2022 backlog. These are the ones you have to play.
Check out these backlogs I got right over here, kid. Come on over.
Backlogs on backlogs.
Just fucking stolen watches and backlogs.
It's a very recursive thing. Why don't I run down this list for you, Bobby? So just so everybody.
Wait, well, which
home,
one is this? Is this 22?
These are the.
Hang on a second. Is this your new backlog or your new backlog?
This is the new backlog. This is the newest backlog.
Not new, but new. Okay.
Yes, correct.
All right.
Okay, so here are the games that I know that I still need to play in 2022. I have to play them, or I have to finish them. One of the two. So Digimon Survive is on this list. That game needs to be finished in some form or fashion. Live Alive, just mentioned. Crayon Shin-chan, just mentioned. Norco on this list.
Thank
Norco,
you.
I have started. I would like to play more Norco. I feel like I need to be in the right mood to play Norco, and I rarely find myself in that mood.
I need you to get into like just a weird headspace for 4 hours and 30 minutes.
You're absolutely right. I pet a cat. Last time I played that game, I pet a cat.
How hard and how much did you pet the cat? All the way?
I did all the way, baby.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah. Power Wash Simulator is on this list. A
We
game we played on Monday night. A game I've
a game that
played
played us on Monday night, if you know what I mean.
That's true. I think I've played enough of that game to know what it is.
Yeah.
But I still want to just play a little bit more. Symphony of War is on this list. A game that I have started on my Steam Deck. I want to keep playing. That game's pretty cool. I want to keep playing more of it. ST Gundam Battle Alliance. That game comes out later this month.
That's the squishy ones, right?
That's the tiny ones, yeah.
The tater tots. The tater
super
tot robots.
Deformed Gundams, some might say.
Yes.
You stand for. So I will be playing some of that. By the way, pro tip. Actually, I don't think it's a pro tip anymore because the game is actually on the eShop now, so you can just download the English demo or the North American demo. But you could, like I did, go into the Japanese eShop and download the demo there. And if you play it with an English profile, a North American profile, you just kind of get the North American demo. So that would have been a pro tip, but they've finally added it to the store. Neon White is on this list.
It's a good one.
Johnny likes the Neon White. I bet I would like it too. I've purchased Neon White. I will play Neon White. I just haven't done it yet.
We should quick look that so you can get a little bit more.
Yeah, I think my problem now is everybody's already played Neon White, and everybody's gotten their times down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come to that game late where everybody's already figured out all the tech, and I think I'm just going to get really depressed when I do a good run and then go, oh, all these people are just way better than me because they've been playing this game for a while. Technically 4 more games. One is Stray. I know that you've talked about Stray. That seems like a one that's relatively quick. I need to play Stray.
5 hours.
Totally.
Easy. You've got your Saturday carved out with Norco and your Sunday following up with Stray.
Koromon is on this list. You've played some of the Koromon. I like Pokemon stuff. I should probably play Koromon before Scarlet and Violet come out, right? Like that would be prudent to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not that we want to let the cat. Well, we've already talked about the other cat out of the bag with our September games because we can't talk about those yet. But there's a really good Pokemon coming out of early access to 1.0 early September.
That's true.
Temtem.
Okay. Last 2 games. Hard Space Shipbreaker is on this list. I still don't think I have a thing that plays Hard Space Shipbreaker, right? Because it doesn't play great. Does it play it okay on the deck? Okay.
It's fine. I've really gotten to a point where I need to use a mouse and keyboard for that one. Controllers are fine. I've gotten all my shortcuts and stuff set up when I'm out there, and I'm an efficient breaker.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about you.
Yes.
I think that's something that I want to wait until I have the right PC setup to play that game the way it's probably meant to be played, or the way that
I would agree with that.
Would make me feel the best way.
Yeah, you could definitely get there with your Steam Deck. It's just going to be that's a very immersive experience that you should not be fighting with things to make it work the way it needs to.
Totally, and I kind of feel like Power Wash Simulator is enough like Hard Space Shipbreaker that's the one I can kind of play on my Steam Deck now.
Yeah.
And I can wait to play Hard Space until I'm ready to play Hard Space because I'm pretty excited about that game.
Yeah.
And then the last one, and I'm so sorry, Bobby. I still someday need to finish Super Robot Wars 30.
That's not a 2022 backlog. That's just your backlog.
Are you sure? Is that game not 2022?
Nope.
Was that? Oh, God.
Yeah, that was last year. Because you were waiting for the DLC to come out, which came out in December.
No.
Oh yeah. Why do I know more about this than you do?
You're right. That was October. You're right. All the DLC is out for that game, so I'm playing that game. I just need to finish it to get it off my plate. But that doesn't have any bearing on the 2022. So maybe
we had an update on Digimon, and we had you air your dirty laundry of your backlog's backlog.
That's true.
How are we feeling?
I'll push the Evo stuff to news. That's more news than it is games. So why don't you just tell me the things that you've been
Well, I've played a brand new game that you've probably never heard of called Papers, Please.
Mm, brand new in a sense. It's on a new
Yes,
platform.
it is. And this is going to sound weird. I've had Papers, Please on my Steam library for some time now, and I've been convinced like that game's going to be fantastic. Like I know enough about it. We've talked about it on this show. I'm not here to sell you on Papers, Please. That's the Lucas Pope game that came out originally. What's funny enough, it came out August 8th of 2013. So it's been a while. And I want to say last week, yeah, it was last week, the iOS and Android version of the game came out for $5. And this is a pretty cool version of the game. And I think if you ever wanted to keep some depression in your pocket, there's never been a better way to do it. Uh, it's it's really been localized for a vertical screen very well. For those of you who are unaware of what Papers, Please is, this is a game where you are working like a customs booth or some sort of like passport booth. I believe it's set in the 80s of what looks like the Soviet Union of some degree.
It is a quasi Soviet Union.
Yeah,
What's the? I can't remember the name of the country.
USSR.
No, I mean the name of the fake country in the game.
Oh, it starts with an A.
Yeah, it does start with an A. Glory to Estrosha or something like that.
So you are following orders that you get every morning on who can come and go into this country, and you are validating information on people's passports. This could be the date of expiration. It could be their physical features. It could be their weight at times. It could also be who is authorizing their passport, what city is it coming from. And so you are making money for each one of these that you correctly do, which is also kind of this miniature game within the game of ensuring that your family that's been moved into this new apartment complex is warm, fed, etc. And you want to make sure that they're taken care of. And at times you're basically saying that you're not one of us, so you can't come in here. And it's a hard go. At one point in the game, there's a terrorist attack that takes place that's pretty brutal. And this is all 8-bit, like very zoomed out pixel, but it doesn't take away the impact of what it is. It's rough.
And being a Lucas Pope game, it's not something that is meant to be solved exactly.
Yeah.
You are meant to make sacrifices. You get paid based on how many people you talk to. I think like
Yep.
how many you run through, whether you let them into the country or turn them away. But the speed at which you need to make decisions means that you're probably going to make mistakes because you're trying, because you either have two options: you do your job correctly and you don't get enough money to feed your family, that's bad,
Yeah.
or you rush through things to make your quotas and potentially something bad happens because you let in the wrong people, or you turn away people who deserve
be home.
to be
Yeah.
okay, or have made like a very small mistake, but they're telling the truth and they deserve to come in, and it's just like a small clerical error, and you can totally say like, yeah, you're fine, it's fine, don't worry about this little error. You might get docked pay or something though if you do that. And it's about that bureaucracy and about that red tape. It's actually really interesting. I work in my normal non-podcasting job.
IRL.
Yes, I work in advertising, and one of the things I'm working with right now is convenience stores, and the way they card people coming in to buy alcohol. And we're like doing like a training module of teaching the clerks how to look at an ID and what they should do. And it very much just feels like I'm building Papers, Please
Yeah.
in real life. It's very weird. It's like, hey, look at the picture, look at the person, make sure they match. Flip the card over, make sure it's got a barcode, and it's like, this is just fucking Papers, Please. What am I? I'm just playing Papers, Please here. What's happening?
So this game is it's been out for a while. It's $5 on mobile. It also works on iPad. One of the cool things, this game can be played with one hand pretty easily. You're just going to be thumbing through some documents. They do have a manual that you can reference, like passports and the information that you should be looking for. It is 10 excuse me, it's $10 on Steam right now. This is available, I think, on Linux. Yeah, it's Linux. No, apologies. It's Mac and
It's on
Windows.
pretty much everything.
It works on Steam Deck if you have one of those. I like the PC version. I think using a mouse is really, really great. But if you are looking to get into it and you've got a mobile phone, like this is a piece of video game history that I think has informed a lot of other types of UI mechanics, specifically. Like a game that I was really into earlier in the year was called Strange Horticulture, and I thoroughly enjoyed what that game did from an interface level, and it's feeling like it was informed strongly by this one. So Lucas Pope,
Yeah.
very smart guy. Papers, Please has been out for a long time. Check it out, and now you can check it out on the go as well.
I do want to point out one more thing. I think
Yeah,
we've mentioned this a couple times when we've talked about Papers, Please. I know we did on the August preview, but just again for people to know, you do buy this game. You pay $5, like Bobby said, and then it's your game. Netflix has been making games that have previously not been on iOS,
yeah,
making iOS versions for those. This is not one of those. You don't need a Netflix subscription to
yep.
play this. It's not going to be free with your Netflix subscription. This is a completely separate thing. It's not like Into the Breach. But also, I guess we need to do this too, Bobby, because every other video game news outlet has felt the need to
Yeah.
say, if you have a Netflix subscription, you're probably not playing the free video games that you
And
get on iOS.
there's some really good video games that have been ported to that service.
Totally. Into the Breach, one of the best games of all time. Point P, not a port, but Point P, pretty fucking cool.
Moonlighter fucking rules. I love
There's
Moonlighter.
definitely good games on that service.
Yeah,
I still think it's really weird that that's
yeah,
how this is all happening, but that's out there. Anyway, Papers, Please. You should purchase that game
yes.
regardless of your Netflix affiliation.
And if you are in the mood to keep spending money, let me tell you a place that you can check out. Hard West 2. This game came out August 4th. This is the follow-up to Hard West that came out in 2015. Different developer this time around. It's made by Ice Code Games, also published by Good Shepherd. But it is borrowing heavily from some of the things that built the first game. If I had to like grossly undersell it, it's a Western XCOM. But if I really wanted to pitch it to you, it's an incredibly detailed environment of supernatural and macabre elements that make for a tactics-driven video game with one of the coolest buffing mechanics for your character between bravados and creating poker hands made up of attribute enhancing elements to your game. It's just really, really well done. We've recorded a quick look. It's not published yet, but I've probably sunk about 10 hours into this game so far, and I am just adoring my time in the Hard West. From a tactics standpoint, they've brought in some really cool things, and one of the ones that I mentioned earlier was bravado, which there's no Overwatch in this, which was arguably one of my favorite mechanics in a tactics game before this one. But what bravado does is at the time of you killing with any of your characters, when you get a kill, it completely resets your action points, which you start each round with 3. And most of the move sets in this game are going to be 1, your initial attacks are 2, a stronger attack is 3. But you can start to chain, and they celebrate that at the end of each level. It's like, hey, you had this many kills, this many turns. This was your longest bravado streak. And I think that's really cool to see, like, how many things can you chain together off of 1 kill. And this is what's even more messed up. There's friendly fire in this game, and you can use that, I found out, through a complete accident to reset your own bravado. So let's talk about where that might be important. Let's say that you're in some shit and one of your characters is at low health and you know the next turn they're gone. But if you had the opportunity to just undo what's inevitable here and kill them, reset your own bravado to either move further away from harm or move and do more damage. Because if you can get a few more feet and get a better shot, you can reset your bravado again, and you can start to really snake around these maps and do some nasty stuff that started from you taking out your own character.
And there's no
That
permadeath, right? So like once you're done
correct.
with this, even though you killed your guy, you get your guy back at the end.
You get your guy back, and it's a situation where um, it's not run based. I want to make that clear. But at the end of each one of, and this is not too dissimilar from other games, I don't think. Your health carries throughout the game. So if you took damage in a battle and now you're back in the overworld, you either need to camp and use provisions, which is a consumable, or you need to go into a town where there is a doctor that can heal you for $20, and that heals your entire party. There are things that I've done now, which there's a character named Flynn, and she is, I guess, like more of a witch type. She does a really cool shadow move where she does swaps. So I can move her across the map and swap spots with an enemy or one of my own team members. But when she does this, it takes 1 HP away from everybody. And that might not sound like a lot, but there's certain guns that I have that only do 9 damage, leaving a lot of people on the battlefield with 1. So if I do that move, which only cost me 1 action point, I'm now relocating to another area and resetting because I'm getting a bravado kill
Yeah.
when I swap with them. Here's the other thing I just added to it. Because of the card system that we talked about, I now gain 1 HP upon kill with that character.
Okay. Nice.
So I can start to net neutral things out with them. And that's like a little thing that I've built because of the way I like to play with that character. Like it's my own shit, which I really appreciate.
It does feel very freeform in that way.
Yep.
It is. It feels like there's a lot of player expression in how you play this tactics game, and that there are lots of ways to solve problems,
Yep.
which is stuff that I love. When I talk about liking Super Robot Wars, a lot of that comes down to all of these different pilots that I have and the different skills and the way that they can combine those skills in many different ways to just allow you to do crazy things at any one time. And it seems like that is exactly what Hard West 2 is going for. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned the bravados, and you mentioned Overwatch before in something like XCOM,
Yeah.
and XCOM has kind of had XCOM and then other tactics game after XCOM have had to deal with that problem.
Yeah.
That Overwatch is cool. I agree. I love Overwatch. But it led to players playing XCOM in a very slow, turtly, passive way
Yep.
where they just inch up a little bit and Overwatch, inch up a little bit and Overwatch. Everybody had to be on Overwatch at all time. And it didn't lead to it led to a lot of just boring turns of doing nothing. And this and XCOM then in XCOM 2, they changed the way Overwatch worked and made it less it's still in there, but it's a lot less appealing to use in different ways. And a lot less usable and as a lot less strong than it used to be.
Yeah.
We played Mario and Rabbids,
Yep.
and that game also has Overwatch, or at least
A
for some
very
specific
brutal
characters.
Overwatch.
And the Overwatch is good, but you end up running into enemies that go underground and dig underground and then pop up in other places, and they avoid the Overwatch. So that was their way of getting around that system is
Yep.
we just have enemies that straight counter Overwatch.
Yep.
And I think this is an even better way to do this of we're not just countering the cool thing that you have. We're not making the cool thing bad. We are finding a different, potentially even cooler thing
Yeah.
to entice you to play the game in a different way. We're not punishing, we're rewarding.
Yep.
And Bravado giving you the ability to move up, get a kill, keep your turn, and move on and do more things, not only makes you feel cool, but it also speeds up battles and makes you play in an aggressive fashion
Yeah.
that just a more fun way to play. It actually reminds me. I think I mentioned on the quickly. It reminds me of Doom 2016,
Yeah.
where that
100%.
game is saying we know we're a first-person shooter. We know a lot of first-person shooters have cover stuff that they do, or you play in a specific way. We want you to play in this specific way. where you need to run up on people and rip them apart because that's how Doom feels good.
Yeah,
And we're going to reward players by playing who play that way with health, with armor, with ammo. So you have to play this way because if you try to play it passively, you're going to get your ass kicked. And I think that's just it's a brilliant system. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Doom 2016, I'm still respect the hell out of what it's doing. And I think Hard West 2 is going for a similar vibe in the tactics genre, and I
for
think that's
sure.
fucking rad.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the other, like, two other things I'll call out from a mechanic standpoint that like borrows from other games again is I don't think SteamWorld Heist is the first to do this. I think they've mastered it, which
Mm-hmm.
is the ricochet trick shot. And there's pistols, rifles, and shotguns so far. There's also some melee weapons in this that you can equip characters with. And everybody has two weapon slots that you can move between. But certain guns have the ability to do a trick shot, which is a ricochet shot. And in the level, you'll see things that are highlighted red that will indicate, hey, you can shoot this. And then so you click on it, and then you basically are starting another path that you can angle and do that with. I did not realize this, Chase, but I found out that not only can you do trick shots off of those objects, you can trick shot into another object and then trick shot off of that object.
Ooh, okay.
And so I
I like
had
that.
I did this really nasty double trick shot to a guy behind a wall and iced him and got bravado from that. And it was one of the best moments of the year for me in the game. It was really well done. The writing is really sharp here. You are building rapport with all of your characters. When they hit certain points, um, you will be able to unlock more passive abilities. So I have one character that can just go look for provisions now if I need those. I have another character that can heal folks. And those are things that will happen whenever you get into a situation that seems like, hey, there's a lot of strong opinions here from this person's a cannibal. Like everybody around them's dead. They survived only because they ate their people. We should probably kill them because there's a demon in them. And then you hear your party talking to you like, hey, you should do that, you're right, that's a cannibal. And then somebody's like, you know what, they were just surviving, we should like take them back to town. And then depending on who you side with, you'll get a loyalty point. And it has no like, you're not going to lose a loyalty point if you don't side with somebody. It's just giving you opportunities to get some of those abilities within your party, which I know some people like to have a bit more consequence to the decision making there, but I just like the fact that, hey, I'll get them the next time around. Like I could really use this because I came across this cave and somebody's sick and I need to heal them. So I want to put the money into this bucket. That way
Mm-hmm.
I can get this knocked out here without using a resource. It's
Yeah.
it's just a fantastic game. It's completely caught me by surprise. I can't say I've had this much fun in any other tactic game like this. Like I think I like this better than the XCOM game that I played. I really like Rabbids because Rabbids, for a lot of those weird things that it did to avoid pieces, it did some cool stuff with movement, like with the piping
Mm-hmm.
and the levels, and I really liked that. But this is a great game. It's $29 on
I think that's
Steam.
right.
It is currently at the time of this recording on sale for 10%. It's pretty rad. You should check it out. It's on PC only at the moment, but the prior game Hard West was on I think quite a few consoles. It does have controller support, and I think it will be making its way that way as well.
And it does have Steam Deck support, but it's a little iffy, right?
It's a little iffy right now. You have to run it because you have the option in a lot of the games to run them as the Steam Deck intends, or you can force them into a build of Proton, which is the fork that you have there over this, and it's fine. Like I've had it, like when I'm in the game, it works really well, and you're just using the trackpad with your thumb to place things, and there's certain controller elements that go with it. But I would just say there'll be a little bit more to come with it. Apparently, this game is done like gangbusters better than the last one. If you go to the Steam page, they've got like a big thank you post and kind of the outline of what they're working on. I imagine it'll only get better on that platform as time goes on.
Nice. I feel like, again, like Hard Space Shipbreaker, it's one that while I'm very excited to play it, I want to play that in the correct environment,
Yeah,
and maybe that's just waiting until I have a proper PC setup to do that.
totally fair. This next one, you don't need to wait for anything to play because you can do it right now on your Steam Deck.
Lay it on me, baby.
Chase, what would you do if I
Mhm.
told you that there was a fast paced, low poly 3D rail shooter heavily inspired by classics of the early 90s? What would you say about that?
Uh, I would say rail shooters are not my favorite genre, but they can be kind of cool. What
Okay.
is
What
this
about,
the?
go on?
This isn't Whisker Squadron.
No.
This is the other one that's basically Whisker. This is the other one that's like Star Fox.
This is the
Yes,
other Star Fox. This is ex-zodiac.
that's right. Yes.
Ex-zodiac hit early access July 21st, 2022. It's made by Pixel Jam. It's $10. There's currently 6 levels with 6 bonus levels available, 12 in total when it's released. Chase, this game is fucking awesome.
It is awesome. I have watched friend of the show Jeff Gersman play this game.
Yeah.
And then I'm just checking my library to make sure. Yes, I have purchased this game.
Okay.
I have not played it, but I have purchased this game because it looked so fucking cool.
It is fucking cool and it works like a dream on your Steam Deck. The only
Yes.
thing I will say from a buyer beware, it does not currently, from what I can tell, support Steam Cloud saves. So if you are looking to play this between 2 spots, um, just play it in both spots twice because it's that good.
And also pretty short. Like it's
Oh yeah,
you'll finish it on both spots. You're fine.
yeah. So it is Star Fox. Like
Yeah.
this is absolutely Star Fox. There is another game. So the sub games or the bonus levels that you can unlock. That is absolutely another game that it's
It's a
riffing
Space
off of.
Harrier.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Space Harrier. And then there is one level in this that you are on like a speed bike, and
Okay.
that's a really cool level. We're absolutely going to quick look this game for everyone. We have not recorded that yet. Um, I think that you could probably like get through this game if you just did like the 6 levels there. This is like a 20 to 30-minute game, probably like an hour tops if you wanted to take your time and like try and get better scores. But I grew up loving Star Fox. I adored Star Fox 64. I remember the Rumble Pack coming with that, having the different vehicles, the submarine, the tank, the R-Wing. I thought that was all fucking rad. This game is really just, it's got all that you would want from the vibe. It's also got some really cool like biomes. Like each planet's bringing like, this is an ice planet, this is a fire planet, this is a desert planet. Like all that's there for it. Um, Bombs, lock-on missiles, laser upgrades, barrel rolls. The only thing that I didn't see yet is there were certain levels in Star Fox that you would get into where they just kind of gave you free form off of the rails, where you could like be moving around and like do the
Yeah.
turnabouts and all that shit. That's not here. This is just all on rails.
And
Um,
and this is also you mentioned Star Fox 64, but they are definitely going for SNES Star
yes,
Fox
yeah, this is Super
here.
Nintendo Star Fox,
Yes,
100%.
they're going for that style, which I'm fine with.
Yeah,
And but that game also didn't have free uh,
no,
like free roam levels. I guess Star Fox 2 did, but that
yes.
game technically didn't come out until a couple
It's
years ago on
right
the
there,
Super
though. I've
Nintendo
got
Mini.
one right over there
Um,
somewhere. Yeah, there we go.
um, I that I love the original Star Fox. As a kid, I found it too hard,
Yeah,
but I just kept playing it and really enjoying it until it got too hard. Star Fox 64, I know I beat maybe a billion times.
yep.
I did try going back on the SNES Mini though, and totally beat the original Star Fox on my first try. I was like, oh wait, was this really that hard? What was wrong with me? This game fucking rules though. I'm totally here for Star Fox games. especially ones that are trying to evoke that retro style while being modern frame rates.
Yep.
The original Star Fox slows down all the fucking time. Star Fox
Yep.
64 slows down all the fucking time. So to have one be silky smooth and also evoke that stuff, Nintendo sure as shit ain't making new good
No,
Star Fox these
that's
days.
well, and you bring up a point. So, like, really quick before we touch on that, there's two modes for this game visually. There is the standard one that it presents, and then there's a high res, which they take away some of the fuzziness and the rough edges of like that, and they crisp it up. So if you are playing on like a higher resolution monitor, I would say kick that on. Like on my Steam Deck, I played it to lower setting, no problem at all. But I have a higher res monitor here that I game on, and I kicked that on, and it retained all the charm that you would want from that 16-bit era, but just like made it a little bit crisper for the eyes on here. So you brought up a point when you talked about Nintendo's not making a Star Fox. It's interesting to me to see what our generation and younger is doing with the games that made them want to make games that aren't being made the way that they want them to be made. They're just like, well, I can't wait for Nintendo to make this anymore, so I'm just going to make it. Whether that's
Yeah.
Agent 64, whether that is something that we talked about just a minute ago, like Koromon and other ROM hacks that you're seeing. Like, hey, if Nintendo and Game Freak aren't going to do it, we're going to do it. We haven't had a new Star Fox in some time. I'm
There was, yeah, I mean, Star Fox Zero was on the Wii U, and that game was bad.
yeah, not great.
So, and also not really what people were looking for from Star Fox.
I just think it's interesting that we're now seeing these developers say I can do this now. Like this is a game that
Mm-hmm.
like shaped me. Like I'm just gonna go out and make it. It's also
And to be fair, I mean, developers have been doing that basically
yes,
forever.
yes,
I mean, you look at something like Spelunky and go back to, hey, Derek, you liked Super Mario Brothers, and he also liked Rogue, and he found a
yeah,
way to combine those two into
yeah.
a single
Fair.
game. But yes, you're right. We have a slightly different generation of game developers who were kids at a slightly different time, and they are coming to game development with those games in mind, wanting to make those things. We're getting to a point where we've had all of this pixel art stuff
Yep.
for a long time, and I know some people have been exhausted by the pixel art revival, and we're starting to get into a new era where people are like, "Hey, remember the low poly original PlayStation and Nintendo 64 look?" And you have some people going, God, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Those games
Please
look
don't.
like fucking garbage. But then there is also still that certain charm of people liking those styles of games, and it's really interesting to see how
Yeah.
this is cyclical in that way, and people bringing in new generations of things.
So I'm sorry. I mentioned earlier that this was developed by Pixel Jam. It's actually developed by MNKY. Let me see if they did anything else. This is it. This is all I'm seeing for them on Steam, at least.
And one other thing to mention with this that's slightly different than Star Fox is that you're alone. It's
Yeah.
just you. You don't have you don't have Peppy, Slippy, and Falco or equivalents bugging you around there.
You
Now
do
that's
have
where
people
something
talking to you, but you don't have people flying with you.
right. But that's where something like Whisker Squadron, which is another one of these that
Yeah.
is,
Is
hey,
that
what if we
out?
made Star Fox? It's not out yet, no. What if we made Whisker, or what if we made Star Fox except it was all cats? That one is like, hey, we really just did make Star Fox. You do have another crew of 4 pilots who are going out there, and I'm also excited for that one. But this ex-zodiac looks really rad.
I'll
I'm
need to go
looking forward
back
to
and look
that
at our
one.
quick look. I wonder if I'm looking at the Steam page for Whisker Squadron, and they certainly have changed their key art here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it looks like the ship design has changed. I might be wrong there though.
Maybe
Um,
it's still coming soon, though, right? It doesn't have
it
a
still
specific date
has
on
it
it.
listed here for planned release date 2022.
Okay. Cool.
And
Looking forward to
it
that
looks
sometime.
like there was a developer live stream. They haven't really done much with this game, at least on updates here on Steam
Yeah.
since February. But that game looks really good too.
Yeah, it does. I don't think it looks as good as ex-zodiac does.
Yeah,
Ex-zodiac might be the better Star Fox alike, but I still just want to play both of those games because I just love Star Fox.
ex-zodiac, $10, currently in early access, 6 levels, 6 bonus levels, and I've heard that 12 will be the total levels for it. So $10 for that, I think, is quite a bit of video game to check out. And new and old to the franchise of Star Fox, you will find something here to like, I bet. So that, just to, just to recap, I went through Papers, Please on mobile. I talked about my time with Hard West 2, and then I surprised, well, I thought I was going to surprise Chase. Shame on me for not knowing better. With ex-zodiac, that Star Fox clone. And
Yeah.
that is what we've been playing. But Chase, there's always a little bit of news.
There's always news.
There's always news, even.
You want to hear about some news?
Yes, I would love to hear about some news.
All right. Let me tell you about Evolution 2022.
Okay.
This is the Evolution fighting game tournament, which I guess Sony owns now, right?
They
Sony
do.
bought Evo. Yeah. For the past couple years, Evo has been doing online events, I believe, because
Yes.
of COVID. But they got to do their first in-person event this year. It just ended this last weekend, or it was over this last weekend. And everybody was masked. I don't know if you had to be vaxxed to get in, but everybody was definitely wearing masks, even competitors on stage.
Oh, really?
So that was good to see. And it was really fucking good. I have not watched every top 8. There's probably some that I'm just not going to. I don't really care about Tekken 7 all that much. I don't care about Mortal Kombat. But the 2 that I have watched have both just been fucking bangers. And that was first I had to watch Dragon Ball Fighters because I like that game and it's fun to watch. That was a pretty great top 8. A lot of people from France have been reviving that game and trying to take it into new territory. And there were 3 French competitors in the top 8, and one of them, Wawa, took home the gold. It was good though. It was just a really fun watch. People were really excited. The best thing in there is there's a character in Dragon Ball. Bobby, I know that you are the biggest anime fan around, so you probably already know this, but this is just for the viewers at home. There's an enemy in Dragon Ball named Cell. He is
Cell, like Cell.
That's it. You got it. He is an android who takes the powers of other people and assimilates them into himself. And he gets stronger and changes forms as he gains more power. Anyway, so in Dragon Ball Fighters, there is Perfect Cell, which is this is Cell at his highest form, at his perfect state. And his intro is just him powering up and just yelling, because it's anime, everybody has to yell. But he yells in a very dramatic way that crowds, when Dragon Ball Fighters was even more of a game that people were caring about, it would be very fun for the crowd to yell along with Cell as he yelled, and then you'd get into the game and it'd be fun. Again, we've been online for Evo the last couple of years, so nobody's gotten to do this, and now we're back. And there was one person in the top 8 of Dragon Ball Fighters who had Cell on their team, and they started the match. They were about to get in, and they're doing the intros, and everybody's so excited. Even the announcers were like, we're going to get to hear the Cell. We're going to get to hear everybody in the crowd scream. We're all super hyped for it. It's going to be the best thing. And as the intros start, somebody clicks a button and skips the intros. And the whole crowd goes nuts. The announcers go nuts of, what the fuck? Who hit the button? What are you doing? And to their credit, I don't know if this was the plan from the start. If it was, brilliant. Well done. Great troll. But then, as soon as the match started, they immediately went back to character selection and said, "No, we'll do it. We're doing it right." And they went back. Everybody got to yell. Everybody had a lot of fun. That was just a really fun time, and also it made me realize I did not play. I have not played with a lot of the new characters they added to Dragon Ball Fighters.
People were loving it. I know that they just changed over the net code on that. Like apparently that game was the talk of the show.
It's
it's
still
also getting isn't it getting a modern update for consoles too, like PS5?
That I'm not sure. Maybe
I'll double check. Keep going.
Okay, I did know about
though.
the netcode thing. But yeah, it's really exciting. It's great to see a game like that is super fun get more of a revival like that. It was a great one to see at Evo. There were other great games. The other one that I caught that I was pretty impressed with was Street Fighter V Championship Edition, which is a game that has gone through some rough times. People were not happy with Street Fighter V when it first came out. There are some people who are still not very happy with Street Fighter V. But this is potentially the last time it will be shown at Evo, because Street Fighter VI has been announced, and should come out before the next Evo, and that's probably the one that people will be playing for the next Evo. So this was kind of the send-off for Street Fighter V. Bobby, did you have an update on Dragon
I did.
Ball?
Sorry, I just pulled it up here. So it looks like it's not necessarily going to get like some of the other enhancements. Maybe I'm missing a piece here, but that netcode rollback is only on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S.
Interesting. Okay.
It also says here the PS4 version will be compatible with the upgrade program, while the Xbox One version will be compatible with Smart Delivery. We also expect the PC version to be updated so that users can choose either delay or the rollback netcode system. The recommended specs for the rollback system are expected to be higher than the current ones. So
nice.
More information found at a later date, but that is interesting that it's going to be broken down on some hardware there.
Yeah, that is interesting. Johnny and I definitely texted each other a couple times that, hey, maybe we should reinstall Dragon Ball Fighters and play some of those new characters and just have a good time. So that might happen. Anyway, the other top 8 I watched was Street Fighter V Championship Edition, and as much as I don't really care about Street Fighter V, Street Fighter is always like the game for Evo. It was not the final game that they played at Evo. It's kind of lost its spot as the anchor. But
yeah.
I think this was probably the biggest game at Evo this year because of how things went. So, Bobby, you don't know a ton about the fighting game community, correct?
No. And
have you ever heard of a person named Daigo?
No.
Okay, well that's too bad. I was hoping you had. Daigo is probably the most famous fighting game player there is. He's been in Evo. He's been in a lot of Evos. He's part of some of the biggest moments of Evo. I think he's 41 years old. He's an old man compared to a lot of these kids who are playing these fighting games. He made it to top 8, which is just really cool from a nostalgic play of, like, holy shit, I can't believe Daigo is still good after all these years. There were some other guys other relatively household names in the fighting game community who showed up for this. Tokido is probably the other one that it's spelled a little differently, but yes.
Okay.
But the big thing for us here is that there was an American in the top. There were actually 2 Americans in the top 8, but one played definitely better than the other. And this guy's name was Idom, and he made it all the way. So he was playing lights out. This dude was just on the top of his game, and he's going up against just some of the best players in Street Fighter history, in Street Fighter V history especially, but in Street Fighter history. He was in the losers bracket, or he got knocked down to the losers bracket, and he had to fight his way through the losers bracket, which also had Daigo, who is, again, historically maybe the best fighting game player who's ever lived, beat Daigo. Then he had to go up against Takedo, who is extremely good at Street Fighter, has won Evo before. I'm pretty sure Takedo has won an Evo before, but is always a threat. Beat Takedo. Beat just went through this fucking gauntlet to get back and play the person who sent him to the losers bracket in the first place, a guy named Kawano, another big Japanese player. And when you're playing in these fighting game tournaments, when somebody is the winner of the winners bracket and somebody is the winner of the losers bracket, basically the person in losers has to win twice. They have to win once to send the winner into losers, and then they both are tied. They both have lost one game apiece, and then they play for the final. Or if the winner of winners beats the winner of losers, they just win automatically because they haven't lost anybody yet. So this guy battled through all those guys, got to the grand finals, beat Kawano, who was the winner of winners, and reset the bracket. And now everybody's going crazy. The other thing, Bobby,
night.
An American has never won Street Fighter at Evo. Actually, somebody might have done it in the online years. I'm not sure. I haven't been paying attention. But when it's like all on the line and everybody's here, America just has not put out anybody who can beat these top-ranked Japanese players. And this seemed like the time. This guy was coming in with a character who people did not think was a top-tier character, and he was just playing the hell out of her, and it was amazing to see. He was making these great reads. Crowd is going fucking nuts, and it went down to the fucking wire, and he ended up losing barely to Kawano. So Kawano ended up being the Evo champion, but it was such an incredibly hyped time. It was a fantastic top 8 from top to bottom, and I don't play fighting games all that much. I don't watch fighting game tournaments all that much. I do watch Evo because it's kind of the big one, and it's the one that is just most accessible for me. And goddamn, do I have a great time every year that I watch Evo. It's just a great tournament. I would definitely tell people to go and check out those top 8s. They're on YouTube. They're all like 3 hours long, but I think it's worth it just to go and watch some of these matches because they're just really fun. And you can skip through all of the ads and breaks that they have to do in between, and you can make that 3 hours go a lot shorter. So that was Evo 2022, a really fun time. There's still a bunch of games that I want to go back and check out. King of Fighters 15 and Guilty Gear Strive, I think, are the two that I definitely want to see the top 8s of, and I will eventually. But really cool stuff. And then they also showed off some new characters for Street Fighter 6. And those characters look good. One of them's a new old character, and one of them's a new character.
Well,
both seem great.
As I will keep the news flowing really quick and get through some of these stories briefly, but while we're talking about fighting games, Multiverses is in beta.
Yeah.
And this apparently
a real fighting game. Fine.
A real fighting game.
Ooh,
this apparently,
I wonder if Multiverses shows up at Evo 2023.
Dude, I would be shocked if it didn't. It's nuts, like how big this game is taking off. I want to say it's like 10 million people are playing this game right now, and it's not even in full release. They came out and stated that the season 1, I think the season 1 battle pass was being delayed, and it sounds kind of like indefinitely, like while they're polishing up some stuff on this current version of it. But I've had
Multiverses. Are you sure you're not talking about Halo Infinite?
Dude, don't even get me started on that one. But I've had more people ask me like, hey, have you checked out Multiverses than like I've had for a lot of other games that I feel like people should be asking me if I'm playing. I have Multiverses downloaded. I have every intention to check it out. It seems like a game that we're probably going to end up doing something with here on the show, whether it's a stream or some sort of quick look.
Just feels like a weird joke, doesn't it?
It does, man.
This was the thing that we looked at and we laughed at. Of I can't believe they made a game that they put Shaggy against Arya Stark in,
Yeah,
and now it turns out that it's actually a really balanced.
yeah,
Well, I don't know how balanced it is, but it's at least a really exciting game that people are taking to and playing a lot of, and seems to be getting support.
it's
It's
nuts. I really,
what the hell is happening?
I would wager, like, even though it's a game that, like, who knows, I might fall in love with it. Doubtful, but I might. I would
Mhm.
say just the game in itself is maybe one of the biggest overachievers of the year. And it's hard to deny, like, a game that we absolutely dunked on and had our fun with, like, what zany character will show up next in this when we were
Sure.
spitballing what it would be. And here it is now, crushing the charts. Like, we're talking about the possibility of multiverses being at Evo, which is fucking bizarre to think about.
That is so weird.
Um, so moving on here with that, the Xbox Series S gets a little bit sweeter. Microsoft has added, or freed up rather, um, more of the memory. I would say, like, they've allowed more
Okay.
memory to be out and about in the Xbox Series S. Why this
They
is a
just
good
found
thing?
it. They just found some memory lying
I
around and
don't
they
I
said,
don't
"What if
think
we give this to developers?"
I don't think they found it, but they said, "Hey, we no longer need this to be over here for this." So,
Mhm.
um, I hadn't heard a whole lot about the S being slow. I know the X is more powerful, but that is an update that is either out or coming, which is great. Things that aren't coming, not as great. Marvel's
Oh.
Midnight Suns has been
Mm.
delayed again, and this is the, going back to what I shared with the XCOM esque. This is XCOM folks making a game that looks pretty good, but it was originally pushed back. I want to say from like February, March to October, and now it sounds like it's being pushed back into Q1 2023.
Now, when they
uh,
say it's being delayed, is that hey, we just need more time to polish things up and work on stuff, or is this hey, people have criticized
I have not heard.
aspects of the game and we're going to fix these, or
I
we're going to
don't
change these?
think I think it's more about, so here's why I don't think it's the aspect portion. Not only is this delayed, they have now changed it to where it is only going to be launching on that target range that they have right now for current gen hardware. And
Okay.
they are going to be going to the last gen hardware at a later date. I think this is just like optimization, making it work, making it polish.
Okay.
That's what I think it
'Cause
comes down to.
I thought I remember there being some grumpiness, or maybe it was just me. Yeah, I know I've been grumpy about it. Is seeing the card based stuff that they're doing
Yeah.
for attacks. And I like cards, don't get me wrong. I've played lots of games with
Yeah,
cards
yeah,
in
yeah.
them. But it seemed like maybe a few too many systems for a XCOM like game to also throw
They could
cards in
be,
there.
tweaking that. I am not
Yeah.
not for sure.
Okay.
Uh, moving on from that, the Switch. You like the
I've heard of
Switch?
it.
Uh,
I do.
you can now use the Joy Cons in Steam, or at least it's coming. It's either available right now or it's coming. Um,
Well, that's not playing my Switch now, is it?
it's playing a better one. The So I can tell you that I have used my DualSense on
Hmm.
Steam for, I played Deathloop with it for a little bit, and it's cool to see the enhancements that come from that. I don't know what this opens up, like, with all that's packed into those controllers.
Hmm.
Could this potentially open up some possibilities for like VR type stuff or tracking or other things? Like, I don't quite know what that would look like, but
I bet that's up to individual developers to do something with that.
yeah,
And I feel like you're going to have a lot of people who don't choose that option
right.
because it would be a weird edge case.
Yep.
But I'm sure there are weirdos out there who will be like, yeah, you can play this game with your Joy Cons now and use whatever that entails.
Yeah, So what I am happy about here is that this is just more opportunity for new ways to interact with the PC, which is great. And I know that there's programs out there that allow you to use Joy Cons for other types of gaming on a PC that might require them, but knowing that Steam recognizes it, I think is a good thing.
Yeah,
And last,
and Pro Controller still works on Steam.
yeah,
Always has,
always will. Arguably the weirdest story of the night.
Okay.
Wind
What do you got?
Waker has been completely rewritten by a fan. And you've played ROM hacks that have changed aspects of gameplay.
Uh-huh.
We're not here to touch any of the gameplay of Wind Waker because it's almost perfect. But what we are here to do,
There's a time where you have to like go back and forth and find the Triforce, and that takes a fucking long time. And they got rid of that in the update, right? In the Wii
they
U
did.
version.
They did.
Yeah.
Wind Waker
So, you know,
has
maybe not a perfect game if they had to go fix it at one point, but I understand. Continue.
They've completely rewritten the dialogue in the game, and it's a completely different story, and it's fucking bonkers what they've done. I will read you a quote.
Why? Yeah, please.
So
why would
Beetle,
they do this?
Beetle, you know Beetle, now
No.
has, when you
Who's
walk
Beetle?
in, he's the guy that sells stuff. He has the boat, the weird. Thank you,
Hey,
that guy.
Bobby, here's a little thing about me. I've
You don't-
played like the first 20 minutes of Wind Waker, and that's it. So you're gonna have to help me out here.
There is a trailer that I'm going to link to in chat, and you shouldn't watch it right now, but because I want you to keep watching our show. But
I know the King of Red Lions.
Yes,
he's boat.
He's in that. He has a hat now.
Wait.
Yeah, he has a hat.
That seems a little bit more than rewriting the game. If
he's got a nice hat.
Also added a hat.
He's got a real nice hat. When you walk into Beetle's shop, he'll say like,
Petra.
"Hey, holy shit! I love customers, man."
Whoa! Hey, hang on here.
Yeah,
you're in a Nintendo game, Beetle.
Yeah. Go check it out. It's a fucking fever dream of a thing. And
that's wild.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre ROM hack.
We've we've had fan translations before. Like there's like, hey, this game was in Japanese and we've made it work in English, and that makes sense. But this game is in English. You can go and play.
Part of me wants to be the giant sicko that streams this game, the rewritten version of it, because I think it would be hysterical.
Is that what it does? It have like a specific thing that it's called, or is it just?
Is there a name for it? The Wind Waker rewritten is what they're referring to it. A Zelda ROM hack.
I see it here on romhacking.net. Interesting.
Yep. And I believe that it's also being written with more of a Australian dialect to it. So there's that too, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, here's what the romhacking.net site says. Over 10,000 plus new lines of dialogue, reimagined cutscenes and characterizations, new video files, handful of texture edits.
Okay.
The Wind Waker rewritten is the perfect way to either replay this fan favorite or step foot in its world for the very first time. Playing this ROM hack couldn't be easier. That's just stuff. ROM hack that takes the dialogue from the original GameCube Classic and rewrites it from front to back to tell an entirely different, unique story within the same framework of the game you know and love. This ROM hack does not change any models, levels, islands, characters, AI, music, sound effects, or any sort of gameplay whatsoever.
Yeah.
Weird.
Man.
It's a very strange thing.
I want to check it out. I'm going to check it out. I will check this out. That's the news. Let's wrap up the show.
Sure.
Chase, we have had a fun time tonight. We've had an even funner week.
I mean, Johnny wasn't here, so we had a great time.
It's been great. Monday night, you and I got together, and for anybody who wants to follow along with what we've been doing, there's a really easy way to do it. You can follow those social links in chat, or you can just listen to where I tell you to go. Monday night, you, me, and Johnny got on, and we got dirty while getting clean in Power Wash Simulator. Great video game. We've quick looked it. We've talked about it. It's out on Game Pass. Definitely check that one out. It's a lot of fun. Potato, if you're still here, you should check out this quick look that we've got for Bear and Breakfast. it seems like something you would be really into. And based off of what you've, showed and enjoyed and talked about, it's an adorable video game where you're a bear running a B&B. What's not to like? Quick looks up for that over on our YouTube channel. I also streamed that last Friday night, so you can check out the video on demand there if you want to. Tonight, we told you about the video games we've been playing, all that news. Tomorrow, we're going to punish you with some Digimon Survive, which I'm not even sorry.
A little spoiler for everybody out there. Not a good game.
Not a great game. And this Friday, because actually tomorrow on August 11th, and if you're listening to this happened on the 11th, Cult of the Lamb finally comes out. Excuse me. And I am going to be streaming that game on Friday night. And I'm really excited about this for a lot of reasons. One, I think this game is really cool from the demo I played, and it looks great. That's that new Devolver published video game. But apparently, there are some pretty neat Twitch integrations for all of you. And one of the things that you are doing is you are bringing back people that will join the cult that you are setting up. And you can change like characteristics of them and stuff like that. You can name them. I think from what I've read that there are Twitch integrations that allow all of you to have more of a say-so and play around with that. So I will have that turned on Friday night, and I hope that we can get into some good fun while we do that.
I'm kicking myself a little bit that I'm going to be out of town starting Friday night, so I will not be there to fuck around with Bobby on Cult of the Lamb, which is something I feel like I would really like to do.
Well, we might even bring it over to a Monday night, depending.
Sure. But in the meantime, while I'm not here, plenty of other people in our circle of friends and chatters, I hope they fuck with you quite a bit.
Yeah, it should be a great time. I don't know when that game unlocks. I'm hoping that maybe it unlocks at midnight, and I can go check that out. But yeah, more to come on that. Chase, you mentioned you're gonna be out of town. Outside of traveling, what else do you got going on?
Nothing much. Still, I mean, you could see, got the boxes here. Still working on moving. Still packing things up. Moving them over to the new house. I don't have internet over there yet, but once I do, and once I start living there full time, then I plan to have a pretty nice setup. Bobby's gonna help me build out the perfect office.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll be right back into making episodes of Gamers on the Go, making new episodes of Chase K Plays as I play through SteamWorld Heist, one of just my favorite games. Hopefully a heck of a lot more. Really looking forward to all the things I'm going to be able to do when I'm not in this kind of weird apartment situation with my weird setup that I have to break down and build up constantly every time we need to do a show. It'll be nice to have a more permanent thing for that.
Yeah, we're going to do a lot of fun stuff over the next several months for Chase's setup and make sure that he is in a good spot. That's going to do it for us on this episode. Come back live Friday night at 10:30 p.m. Central to play a little Cult of the Lamb with me. And if you would like to, go check out some of our prior quick looks that are up and maybe some of those videos on demand. For those of you who swung by tonight, it was great to have you in chat with us. We had some old faces return that we really appreciated seeing and hearing from. Hope everybody's staying safe, playing new things, and to see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in.